The sun is shining. We can feel the California love. 1 week removed from, well, when the stream was supposed to happen, ladies and gentlemen. We are here on the west side of the USA for Long Beach. 100 minutes around this street circuit. Very, very tight. Very unnerving, especially for those getting overtaken by GTPs. I'm joined in the booth tonight, as always, by Jack Anderson. Jack Oz, how are you going?
I'm good, thanks, mate. Very excited to see how this race unfolds.
I am as well, although we cannot really see the track information because of the colour of all the area here in Long Beach. Of course, there's a new home for SIMSA from now on. It's here on the Infinity Broadcasting channel. Of course, me and Jack took over SIMSA from Ben Anthony after Sebring. So if you haven't already and you want to be notified anytime a SIMSA event goes live here on the Infinity Broadcasting channel, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you are notified anytime we go live here. We're catching just the end of practice here, Jack Oz, and well, I mean, this circuit is an absolute beast of a concrete jungle, isn't it?
Yeah, for lack of words, it's a very grueling track, like very taxing on the mental side of things, and you never really get a break, so it's also a very physical track. So it's very testing for all the drivers.
I think, one of the biggest challenges that a lot of people will understand about this Long Beach circuit is it's the walls, isn't it? The concrete walls, the lack of runoff. And when you're running around this circuit, especially in a GT car, and you've got a GTP coming up behind you, making sure to get out of the way is going to be one of the most important things that these GT drivers can do to mitigate the problems that can occur around this track. Just a quick reminder to anyone who is watching as well, be sure to get into the live chat, as we'd love to talk to you. I know, since this race is being broadcast off a replay file, we should hopefully get a couple of the drivers in the chat. They can give us their thoughts on how the race went last Saturday night. Although, Jack Oz, it was a little bit unfortunate that we couldn't do it live during the actual race. Of course, SDK giving us the middle finger that day.
Yeah, it's given us a little bit of grief at the last moment there. Unfortunately, we weren't able to stream it live, but we should be back in action live, and next round it should be very good, and hopefully we're able to put on a good show for everyone.
So currently 5 GTPs in this practice session. I think, though, from memory, wasn't it only 4 in total for the actual race?
I believe so. I think it was, I can't remember if 5 started and 4 finished, or whether it was just 4 started and 4 finished.
Well, currently in the session, there are 3 GTP drivers, but there are 5 on the timing board.
Interesting.
Oh no, I know why. It's because they haven't actually got their names with the annotations of which class they're in before the name, so that's why. Scott Dell in the chat as well. Great to have you here, Scott. Fantastic to have you involved in the stream. Be sure to give the stream a thumbs up as well. Hit the subscribe, obviously, if you haven't, and get into the chat. It helps us with our algorithm. It helps get SIMSA out to more viewers, which then can help us produce better classes of racing throughout a whole catacomb of categories. Jack Oz. So we're about to come into qualifying now. Obviously, it's lone qualifying, so no one has to actually worry about sort of anyone getting in their way throughout the proceedings of qualifying. So what do you reckon? It's 15 minutes. How do you think they're going to have to tackle this over the course of their couple of laps?
I want to put everything on, like maybe get a single banker lap in and then put everything on the table and just go for it. It's all about bragging rights at the moment, so 100% commitment on the second lap maybe, and see what you can come out with. Some people might not come off as lucky and might wipe the car out, but yeah, if you can get that top spot, then that's all what it's all about.
Well, I mean, getting that top spot's going to lead to, obviously, the clear road ahead You know, being able to not have anyone in front of you, not having to worry about pulling the car up and running into the backside of someone around this circuit is what can be one of the biggest challenges when following cars. So I guess the bonus of starting on pole or even starting in second is you have a chance to get in front of everyone and not have someone in your way, on the start line, pretty much.
100%. It's always good to start on the front row. In future rounds, we'll be bringing in a rule where the leader can dictate when to go. So it will be very beneficial to be on the front row and to qualify on pole from now on.
We also have Johnny Rowe in the chat as well, giving us a bit of a shuckers. So great to have you here, Johnny. DMD Racing in there as well. Maybe we can talk about, Jacko's, some of our ideas that we have for future qualifying sessions, whether it's going to be in SIMSA, whether it changes, or if it's going to be implemented in our European Le Mans series that we might do, just about some of the changes to how we want to do qualifying at some point.
Yeah, so basically, well, do you want to start it off, or do you want me to start off?
I'll start it. So basically, we want to take it from being the lone qualifying session to being a half an hour qualifying session, and it will be separated by two 15-minute halves. The first half will be all the GTD cars, they will qualify, and then the second 15 minutes will be the GTP. So it'll be how they run it pretty much in the actual IMSA. So it'll be separated by class type. First 15 minutes go to the GTDs, the second 15 minutes go to the GTPs. And I guess the reason we want to do this, Jack, is to not only make it a little bit more realistic, but to actually make qualifying a little bit more of a spectacle when it comes to broadcasting it, because instead of following one car, you're following all the cars and seeing what they can do.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I don't know how to add more to that. You basically covered it all. So, yeah, we basically just want to make it more interesting for all the competitors and interesting for all the viewers at home. And hopefully it'll create better racing.
Well, I mean, not only better racing,
from my experience.
not only better racing, but it will actually lead to more opportunities to actually get a lap in. Scott saying that'll be fun. Yeah, and that's exactly what we want to try and produce, is a fun brand of racing, not just in the race, but throughout the all sessions on a race meeting. So, I guess, it'll give people more opportunities to get a lap in, Jack, and it'll also make for some great broadcast material as well.
Yeah, and I know from my experience, from trying to get into V8 Scops, I struggle with maybe the 1 lap pace, but if I can get like a couple of laps on the run, then that's more where I thrive, and for lack of a better word. But yeah, I reckon that it'll spice up the qualifying order, and hopefully it'll create for better racing in the future, and yeah, hopefully everyone will enjoy that as well.
It'll also allow some of the, well, obviously there's some multiple team entries in GTP, but also in the GCD class, and they'll actually be able to work together to better their lap time. So it'll actually create a more competitive environment, because people will have to work together at certain circuits to beat certain lap times. So that's just kind of one of the reasons why we want to implement it. Of course, Long Beach wouldn't really make a difference if we'd implemented it this round, because it would have been a shit show having all the drivers on track trying to do a quali time together. But we hope, if we are going to implement it at IMSA, it will likely be implemented for Laguna, won't it, Jack?
Yeah, if it's not implemented for next round, it'll probably be introduced or trialed in another series that we might host in between, and maybe introduced for next season. But we'll be finalising all the changes in the next week or so, going over it with us two and our race control to try and make it better for everyone.
So a couple of new entries in this series as well. Obviously, Jai Schultz, Luke Crum, and Chris Tomlin joining the GTD class. And then a couple of dropouts as well from the GTPs and even in the GTTs as well, Jack.
Yeah, it's good to see that some new faces are coming into the series. It's a bit disappointing, obviously, or I don't know if disappointing is the right word to use, but it's a bit of a shame that some people haven't really showed up, and have retired or pulled out of the series. But that's always going to happen, and hopefully we can attract some more drivers and some more teams to come and join us. I know we've got a second Infinity car going to be starting hopefully at Mazda, but it's going to be in a GTD. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to bring even more people to the series and grow it as a whole, and make a nice sort of community that everyone can go race and have some fun with, and yeah.
And I guess just kind of building on that a little bit. I mean, obviously, we don't want to change too much about the series, but of course we want to change stuff to make it a lot more enjoyable, not only for viewers but for the drivers as well, and actually make it a lot more better in terms of race control and driving and rules and stuff like that. And I know one thing that we've talked about, and I guess it's good to kind of keep the viewers in the loop a little bit. So there are actually a couple of cars who have not even showed up for a race yet, and I'm unsure what our decision is at the moment, whether they will not be allowed to enter at all now that we're past Long Beach, or whether we're going to give them until Laguna to actually enter a car to keep their spot, because we want to be able to keep spots open for other entries in case they want to join the series, and we don't want people who are not showing up to take up spots that they're not using. You know what I mean? So, these are just some of the things that we want to be able to implement to make it fun for everyone, but also make it fair for people who want to race, since it is a year-long series, Jack.
Yeah, exactly. I think I could speak for both of us that we don't want to have to remove anyone from the series, but if I think we're gonna give people until the 1st of next month to get back to us, at least contact us, and if they don't do that and don't show up for Mazda, then we'll remove them from the list to hopefully free up some spots from some people that are interested in joining.
And if anyone is interested in joining the league, you can find us. We will post a link in the live chat for the Discord. I can do that quickly now. That you can join, and then you can just message either Jack or myself, one of the admins, saying, "Hey, we want to put an entry in. These are the drivers we want. This is the car we want. Can you get us in? Do you guys have space?" And we'll work with you from there. We probably will implement a waiting list if, again, people just say they're going to show up, but then they don't show up from that point. But, of course, we want to be able to make it fair for everyone who might want to actually join and give it a crack, because it's like, obviously, we don't race in the series, but it seems like such a fun series to race in, having some good fast battling with cars in your own class, but even in cars that are in another class as well. So we are about almost 5 minutes from the end of qualifying, although I don't know if it will actually go all the way to the end of qualifying, as people are just completing their laps. Once again, if you want to have a chat to us, ask us anything, give us your thoughts, get into the live chat. Tell us what you think about Long Beach. I know I'm a big fan of Long Beach. I know, Jack, you're not so much a fan of Long Beach.
I don't mind it, but there's certain cars that I do like it for, and certain cars that I do not. Like GTs are fun for me. GTP is a bit of a challenge, but it's still alright. V8 supercars, I love it. Open wheel is not so much, just because of how easy it is to rip the wheel off. But
Yeah,
that's just my lack of skill.
I think we both have that lack of skill, even in an open wheeler. But I guess, I mean, even if we had actually had LMP2 entries in the series, they wouldn't have been at this race anyway, because they only allow the GTPs and the GTDs to race at Long Beach in real life. So they would have still missed out on the race this weekend. But I mean, I guess they probably wouldn't have minded that, having to deal with all the traffic and getting past and having to pass people as well. So, but we're hoping when the LMP3 comes in, we can get more prototype classes in the racing, and just to open it up a little bit and make it a little bit more interesting. So
Yeah, especially for if we decide to bring in the European Le Mans series later on this year as a side series as well. They normally run LMP2 as their main category, LMP3, and then GTEs at the moment. But we might do GT3 instead. I'm not sure on that though.
give me the GTE.
Yeah, give us the vet.
Give us the GT.
Yeah, those cars are they're something else.
It's a
I love
shame.
them.
It's a shame that not a lot of people run them anymore, because I think they are actually quite underrated, and all 4 cars are absolute just sexy pieces of machinery. I mean, the RSR is incredible. The Vet, I mean, is fantastic. The M8, well, it's a freaking boat, isn't it? You know, it's just massive.
I think
and
it's
then
a bit more than a boat.
yeah, it's a yacht.
Yeah.
It's a cruise liner. And then yeah, obviously the Ford GT, which unfortunately doesn't race anymore, but was pretty cool when they actually implemented it for Le Mans and WEC. So.
And you can't forget the Fez, mate.
Oh yeah, the filthy Fez. It's basically just a 488 GT3 car with slightly different stuff on it. It looks the same. I don't even know if it's bigger than the GT3 car.
I think it's just, I don't know. I think it's different aero, different driver aids and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we as well, building on Hamish's comments from before of the live chat, we do love a bit of banter. If anyone has any topics that we can talk about, even if it's not racing, if it's like, as Ben puts almost every race, does pineapple belong on pizza?
Yeah.
And yeah, if any of the drivers from this race are watching, feel free to jump into the green room in the Infinity Events Discord, and we'd love to have a chat with some of the drivers from the race and have their perspective.
So for some reason, I saved my camera for the pit lane cam, and it hasn't done it. It's been naughty, and it's not being nice. So unfortunately, we don't have the big track view now for the rest of this race. Unfortunately, I don't know why.
Really didn't put it as a different camera because you had it at the start.
Yeah, I know, and I had it on pit lane.
Weird.
I know. It's not going to let me do it now anyway because no one's actually on track. So, but yeah. Anyone who wants to have a chat with us, be sure to get in there, get your comments in, get your questions in, I guess, that you want us to answer. Tonight, obviously, I mean, because it's on a replay file, it's a little bit more of a lighthearted broadcast, being the fact that, you know, we had to deal with stuff last week that made me turn to drinking because it was so annoying that the live stream didn't work. And then you'll see through race proceedings, stuff happens. So, but I think it's still going to be an enjoyable watch to go back through this. I can't even remember who won, I'm going to be honest. So, but yeah, so we're just going to wait now for the last 15 seconds of qualifying. No one is out on track. No one is setting another time. And then we can give you the qualifying results, which might even be available now. They are, although we can't read them properly because of the frickin' WEC thing. So the results for qualifying there, you can see only 4 GTPs setting a time, although it has just disappeared on me, which is nice. So we can bring up the grid, which can't even be read properly, but starting on pole today, Drop Bear Motorsport for the GTP class in the 296, and then Fishy with Blake Delaney starting in alongside, and then in behind them for Rapid Team Rennsport in P3, and then P4 Infinity Motorsports finishes up the GTP grid for today's race. Starting with the GTDs, I mean, they're really, really mixed, aren't they, Jackos? I mean, pros and AMs all throughout, just kind of sprinkled along each other in the on the grid, with Drop Bear Motorsport leading the charge for the GTDs, and then in behind is Whitey's Pies starting in P2 for the GTD class. Drop Bear then in P3 as well, and P4 going to Mark 1 Esports, the 222 entry. Then behind them is Braden Sagasar in the 19 MX Wraps. The Wraps. 19MX Wraps car for the amateur class, and then the CXR car, number 22, in behind him. Then we have Backmarker Racing, and then 19MX Wraps, the pro category car. So actually the amateurs starting in front of their pro counterparts there. And then, of course, we have Alpha Venturi Racing in behind them. Whitey's Pies, amateur entry just in behind. And then SSR Wave Runner, number 98. And then CXR's pro entry as well in behind them. Then the CXR amateur entry, number 28 in behind. Then SCR Esports, the debutants for this weekend, starting in behind them. And then we have a couple of non-qualifiers. Then, of course, Jack, who was in the session under the safety car, but that was only so then he could do race control duties.
I do apologise for Luke Crum Racing as well. It is LCR, not SCR.
Oh, LCR, sorry. I couldn't read it properly because of this light stuff. The overlays will be changing for next round. I'm going to be attempting to change the regular SDK overlays to look more like the official IMSA overlays. So we will get ready to go racing now as the GTPs have now pulled away. So we'll watch them off the start and we'll see how they go.
As you can see, Ash being very cautious at the back.
Oh yeah, and smartly so. A couple of liveries haven't actually loaded properly. I might just bring up my trading paints.
No, that livery did have the BMW one because they loaded in on the wrong team.
That's right. So a nice clean getaway here for the GTPs. Coming down towards turn 1, we might just go back to the GTD, see how they go through turn 1. See them bunching right up there. Oh, and there's already been contact. The CXR car of Miles Burgess has been turned around there by the Mark 1 Esports car. So not such a clean getaway for them, Jackals, here on the start for the GTD class.
No, it wasn't as clean as you'd like it. Unfortunately, that sometimes happens at Long Beach with the tricky hairpin at the last corner. DMD Racing
saying need a dark background behind the graphics. Yeah, we do. As mentioned, we will be changing them for the next round to look more like the IMSA graphics. The reason we went with the WEC ones is Ben requested it when he was controlling the series, but now that we control it, we can do what we want. So we will have it to look really spick and span for the next round. Just didn't have time to stuff around with it today. So GTD's got a good getaway there. We can see as well Sam Sutton in the Drop Bear Motorsport car. He's already got an incredible lead here, Jack Oz. Just taking it in his stride at the moment. Already got almost a 2-second gap back to the Rapid Team Rem Sport car in P2.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that you could say that Drop Bear is more rapid than Rapid Team Ren Sport at the moment. But yeah, it's crazy how much pace these blokes had on this race today, and yeah, it's just mind-boggling to me how these blokes pull all this time out of these cars.
It's almost like they pull it out of their ass and just have an ability to, you know, make a charge towards the front. I'm just quickly changing the overlays at the moment since it is actually showing Jack as a GTP driver when he was in the session, when he actually wasn't, because he was in the safety car. So we'll put him with no class, and that will not show him now on the screen, which is good. So it makes it a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer. So don't be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, if these GTP cars catch the GTDs incredibly quickly. You can see it's already within a second to the back of the GTD field here, Jack Oz, and they are slowly but surely, you can see them in the distance there, getting ready to be overtaken already around here.
Yeah, it's crazy, the speed difference between the classes. Yeah, I don't know. I'm lost for words today. I don't know.
It's all good. It's all good. I can save you in those moments of now I'm getting it too. Just the lack of vocabulary able to come out in awe of this Long Beach circuit. I mean, it is an incredible place to go racing. It's obviously known for, well, the official 100 minutes of Long Beach in IMSA, as well as the IndyCar Grand Prix that happens around here, and as well for Formula D fans as well. You can see the last section of circuit is used for Formula drifting. It's actually quite a spectacle to see them drift around those final couple of corners. I mean, it's not what we're used to if you're used to just watching all out racing here, is it, Jackos?
No, it's definitely not if you're not a fan or not accustomed to seeing cars go sideways for, like, on purpose. But yeah, when I think I've watched Formula Drift here for the last 2 or 3 years, and it's just crazy how close they get to the wall. Like, they literally rub their panels and bend them in on each clipping zone and run the wall literally the entire way around the last section, which is just mind-boggling that they can do that with such precision.
They are truly some of the best drivers of any series out there. Just the amount of car control that they have and that they need to just find their way around this concrete barriered almost tunnel of a circuit is incredible. You see here, Drop Bear, they are just dominating proceedings at the moment. They're leading the GTP class, but they're also top 2 at the moment for GTDs. And I don't know, there's something about those koalas that have got some incredible pace, Jackals.
Yeah, you got to watch out for those Drop Bear cars. They'll drop in on you and do some damage. But
you're worse than me sometimes, I swear.
Mate, I gotta make up for it somehow.
Just compensate a little bit there. So we can see the gap now. These top 4 drivers are starting to pull away a little bit now from P5 of SSR Wave Runner. So it's currently Drop Bear, SSR, PCD, and then SSR is the top 5 for the GTD Pro class. But of course, there's some amateurs sprinkled in there as well. The top 5 for the GTDs is actually, it goes Pro, and then AM is the top 5. So you see Braden Sagasar in the 19 MX Raps Racing number 1 car, top of the AM leaderboard, but 5th place overall for GTDs, which, you know, I don't think we do combined championship anymore for them because pain in the neck. But, you know, all these drivers are strong, and they're only separated because of their I rating, average I rating for the car entry. So there's a couple of cars that would have only just missed out on Pro Class because they might have been a couple points short of 3,000 average I rating for the entry. Notably the Mark 1 Esports car, Jack, which did incredibly well at Daytona, but has dropped down a little bit now after getting a penalty early on for the incident. So we might just check in now with how the GTPs are going, navigating their way through the lack of area, we'll say, next to the GTD cars, coming through these tight, twisting corners of Long Beach. See, just going around the outside into the final corner now, just following in nicely here behind the CXR car of Tyson Styles.
GTP was taking the Formula Drift line there.
Actually, they were, really. I mean, you see them now just coming past Alpha Venturi, Thomas Sanderson there, and past Tom Freer from Mark 1 Esports. So Sam Sutton is on a charge here, Jack Oz, just trying to get away from the Rapid Team Rennsport car in behind. 6 or 7 seconds is almost the gap now between P1 and P2.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to build up that gap as early as you can. There's no threat of safety cars for this round, and for good reason. It's a pretty tricky track. It would have had a couple of safety cars thrown up there, so yeah, it's just a game of getting out as far as you can, as quick as you can, and then dealing with the traffic.
Look at this. He's already caught the top 4 GTD cars now. The top 4, which are all pro entries, the GTP has already caught up to the back of them now. So that just shows you the speed difference between these prototypes and these GT Daytona entries. boys, he just seems like he's a little bit aggressive to get by them. Of course, getting your way through the traffic, Jack Oz, is one of the big challenges of this track, but it is one of the things that can get you a massive advantage over the cars in behind them. They don't have an opportunity to get past them quick enough.
Yeah, you can lose, you can almost lose 30 seconds if you're stuck behind them for long enough for the lap. It's a crazy amount of time that you can lose just being stuck behind the slower classes.
So we saw that over the course of that lap, the Drop Bear Motorsports GTP car gained 2 seconds, almost maybe about a second and a half over the P2 car of Richard Mitchum in the Rapid Team Rennsport entry, and that was just through getting opportunities to get through the traffic, make his way through up towards the front of the GTD pack. So, you know, it's always, I think Ash might have just knocked the wall there a little bit in that Infinity Motorsports entry. So, you know, these are, and you see, maybe he's being a little bit too cautious trying to get past the GTD cars, but of course you don't want to force the issue, Jack, because it's very easy to get a penalty if you force them into the wall.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be too aggressive. You don't want to annoy the drivers because they'll just make your day very difficult if you do when you come back up to them. So they won't make it as easy to let you pass as that you might like. But at the same time, you don't want to lose too much.
You see Mitchum there just cutting in and out of the GTD traffic. Tyson following him along here. You see him down the inside of Daniel Yeaman in that Drop Bear Motorsports Beyond Blue car at the front of the pack. We saw I believe it was the SSR, was it the SSR Wave Runner that just came out of the pits? They got a I know they got a drive through at the start of the race for entering in the incorrect number, but did they get another penalty for something else? Yes. So that one there was for contact.
Also, it looks like car 222 has dropped a lot. I believe they got into an incident early on within the first couple of months, so that we might have missed that.
So they were also a part of that final turn incident on the starting grid there. Obviously, Miles is on screen now in the 93 CXR car getting spun at the final corner on the start of the race. It was one of the big pieces of controversy coming out of this race was that incident. But it was one that, I guess, you know, the race control was put in such a difficult position to make a decision on that incident. But, you know, the race is done now. We move on to the rest of the season, and Miles just trying to do a little bit of catch-up now throughout proceedings to get up towards the front of the amateur field.
Yeah, exactly. And we know that Miles has the pace to do it. We saw him in SRW last night. He was up in was it the top 2 or top 3 in that race?
Yeah, he finished P2 last night in behind his teammate Adam Hughes. He led the race for the majority of the second half, but just you know, Adam had to do a massive comeback after having a lap 1 incident. Got back up into P2 after the pit stop, and yeah, Miles just let him through, and they followed each other around for the rest of the race. So it was a good finish for him. But I know the drivers were a little bit disheartened by the fact there was only 10 entries last night. They were hoping for more. So hopefully that series can get a couple more entries throughout the season now to make the racing more interesting for not only the drivers but the viewers as well.
Yeah, exactly. You'll want to see not only our series grow, but you want to see everyone else's grow as a whole, and make the Australian sim racing community thrive. And yeah, it's. I heard that there might be a couple Infinity cars maybe joining that series soon as well.
Which would be incredible. Which would be nice to see. You know, obviously, well, as people who represent Infinity, we love seeing more of our cars in more series because it's well, not only does it help the series grow in terms of entry lists, but it helps us get experience in other racing categories and gets us a little bit more exposure, which, you know, anyone as a team owner would be happy with. So these DBM cars, they are just dominating proceedings at the moment. We are 13 minutes into this Long Beach race, and well, it is already come with controversy and just cataclysmic incidents in terms of drivers dropping through positions, dropping through the order, a couple of cars just pulling out of the race early on. But I guess this race more than any is about survival, Jack, and it's about surviving just the war that is this whole race.
Yeah, it is. As I said, I think I said it on the day. Drop Bear just needs to get an amateur car and they can lock out the top spot in all 3 categories. But because they're just a dominant force at the moment. Ridiculously fast across all 3 entries today, and all 4 entries. Normally you have 3.
Well, I believe they
GTs.
do have an amateur entry in the series.
They just didn't. They weren't able to show up. This day.
Yeah, so, I mean, Drop Bear, they're a big team in terms of Australian iRacing community. I mean, they're pretty much any series you go into, they've probably got a car rented in it. And it just comes down to their drivers are very competitive and very fast. Oh, as Daniel just sideswipes the tyres there on exit of turn 8. And that is now going to allow his teammate in behind, Tyson Broad, to put the pressure on him here a little bit and tell him, hey, calm yourself down, keep it clean. We've got Luke Rosella in behind us just pounding us to keep going forward at the moment. I need to choose my words correctly there, otherwise that would have sounded very non-PC.
You mean hounding us?
Hounding us, there you go, hounding us. So, currently at the moment we will check in with the GTPs, how they are going. Sam Sutton, I mean, what a drive so far. 13 seconds is the gap back to P2, and he is just the master of getting through the traffic around here at the moment. He must live in an inner city somewhere because he's just able to get through the traffic so well in this concrete jungle of a circuit, Jack.
Yeah, you must just drive at Safeway car park, because like this is Safeway car park stuff right here.
Oh, you don't need to tell me that. The Warrigal one is atrocious. It's so bad, so poorly set up. But it's it's almost like he's used to driving around a heap of traffic, and he's just weaving in and out at the moment.
He must have his forklift license. He's good at getting his car through tight spaces.
Surely he is forklift certified. Maybe if he wins the race and comes and does an interview, we can ask him, are you forklift certified?
Yeah.
We are also actually up to 9 subscribers now on the Infinity Broadcasting channel, which we really appreciate everyone getting involved and getting subscribed, of course. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, because, I mean, obviously this race is not live broadcast at the moment, but next race will be, hopefully, if SDK plays ball. And yeah, you'll be notified when the race happens. You can keep an eye on proceedings of this simulated IMSA season. Of course, well, I haven't watched all of the 100 minutes of Long Beach that happened last weekend just yet, but it looked like a cracker already from the lap 1 incident that happened.
Yeah, it was pretty cool watching that entire race. Unfortunate what happened to the caddy in turn 1. Did that GT just hit the wall back there? They dropped a lot of... I think it was Composer. No, not Composer. Yeah, it might have been Luke Composer, actually.
Oh yeah, I think it was. I need to look for... See him on my thing here. Yep, in the 555. I'm not sure, he doesn't...
It doesn't look like it has any damage to it, but it did look kind of like it was going a bit wide and then dropped off.
Yeah, it was
Maybe
just a little bit. Maybe he did.
It is a pretty good looking car though. Like, I love the red, the grey, or the chromish, and the black.
It is a quality color combination on that car. I mean, and it's a bit different as well. You know, it's almost like just like a wave over the top of the car, and it's not symmetrical, but it kind of is symmetrical at the same time. It really works quite well to the shape of that M3.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the Need for Speed, the old Need for Speed liveries.
Yeah.
When they had the asymmetric liveries, and I loved those things, especially on the Z4s.
I don't mind a bit of an asymmetric livery. I mean, obviously you can't go wrong with a symmetrical one, but even like a lot of the GTPs have got a bit of an asymmetrical livery nowadays. Oh, as Miles is running wide there, really testing the limits of the track.
Yeah, it looks like he's pushing really hard to try and make up that ground that was lost at the start. Definitely pushing very hard, using all the track there. Hopefully he doesn't use too much as he goes wide and a bit sideways there again.
So just to confirm as well, the 222 Mark 1 car did actually pull out of the race after lap 5. The sister car, the 444, is currently in the pits, Justin Quinn at the wheel. Unsure if they will continue with that entry throughout the rest of this race, but we will just have a look through the order at the moment. So we saw him before, Luke Poser, currently P12 in the GTD AM class, P24 overall for all of the cars, including the GTPs. And then obviously Miles Burgess, P11 at the moment for the amateurs. Simon Gorowski for the 414 Alpha Venturi car in P10 for GTD AM. And then he has Tom Freer in the Pro entry, his first Energy Sim Racing, just a bit ahead of him there. Then Isaac Norman in P9 for the amateur class, just a little bit ahead. I think it was actually this car that got the penalty at the start of the race for entering in the wrong car number.
Yes, it was.
So they ended up getting a drive-through. Jamie Stovold, currently P19 overall, P7 for the Pro cars. And Dylan Shepherd is in the pits at the moment, so he's actually about to go down to P7 for the Pros for CXR. And then Bo Kane racing this race on his own today, Jack Oz. And so he obviously knew he was going to get disqualified at the end of the race anyway, but he wanted to have a crack on his own. And well, we gave him the okay and said, well, as long as you don't cause accidents, it's you're free to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Message just pretty early on saying that he wasn't going to have a teammate. Is he still allowed to race because he's pretty keen, which is awesome to see, the commitment. And we let him know because obviously we use the iRacing Fair Share rule now as well. Implement that so it will disqualify him. Sorry. I've got a dry throat at the moment.
You need to go get yourself a bit of a drink, mate.
Oh, I've got one. I just haven't taken a sip yet. I literally just grabbed one. But yeah, he got permission from us, and he's chipping along really well. From memory, he has a pretty decent race for the most part, and then yeah, it's just great to see that he's so keen on racing that he'll do it by himself just for bragging rights.
Almost a little bit of a wild card entry for this race. I mean, obviously he knows or knew beforehand he would get disqualified, but just having the commitment to racing, and that's the only thing we can really ask for from these teams is clean racing, but also commitment to the series, because we want to be able to grow it, and we know that they want it to grow as well. So we just, we want to provide a quality racing environment that they want to actually compete in, and it's really nice knowing that, well, at least Bo was open to getting disqualified just so he could race last Saturday night. So we'll now move up to the next car in the order. Nathan Gardner, P7 for CXR at the moment in the amateur class, P16 overall. Jake Edwards for CXR as well in P6 at the moment. They got a bit of a different livery on the car for this race. And then the debutantes, Jai Schultz, LCR Esports. Did he have Crummy in the car with him this day, or was it Chop that drove with him? I think it was Crummy.
No, so it was Chop.
Oh, was Chop? Okay.
And Kristen Tomlin was racing with him this time. It still feels weird calling Chop Chris.
I know. But that's his Christian name, as they would say.
Yeah.
So P5 at the moment in the amateur class, having a pretty good race so far in the 212. He has received a warning though for having the wrong number box on his car, so they just got to change that before Laguna, and they will not get a penalty if they do so. Andrew Archer, P4 at the moment in the amateur class, P13 overall for all cars on track. And that purple on that car, or like pinkish purple, is it's just pure pornography, isn't it, Jackals? It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I do love a pink car. Or a purple car, especially when it's spec mapped right and it just almost color shifts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, there's something about it. It stands out as well because there's a lot of cars out there that go red, white, and black. And it's good to see people use other colours other than red, white, and black. So, I know that we currently use red, white, and black, but
Yeah.
don't worry about that.
No. Then Matt Stewart, P5 in the pro class at the moment. P12 on overall on track, so 19MX Wraps Racing pro entry. Here doing quite nice. And then Thomas Sanderson for Alpha Venturi Racing. P3 at the moment in the amateur class, so having quite a nice race here is the AVR car. Doing pretty well, holding off Matt Stewart pretty nicely in behind.
Yeah, and that 19MX Wraps car is also one of my favourites in the category at the moment. That purple as well. It just stands out and pops. What you can see it from a mile away. So
it's honestly just a beautiful car, a beautiful livery on it. Tyson Styles CXR, and I got to say those CXR cars, they are still one of the best in the field. That yellow, white, and black combination, the slightly different sort of livery overlays they have for both the Fez and the BMW. I mean, they both just work, and you know they're from the same team. So P2 at the moment in the AMs, and he is chugging along quite nicely here. P10 overall. Then we have Braden Sagasar, 19MX Wraps for the AM entry, is leading the way at the moment for the amateurs here, Jack, and he is just keeping it super tight, super clean. You could argue he could be in the pro class, but again, that car entry does not meet the requirements for minimum 3,000 I rating average for the car entry.
yeah, exactly. There's a couple cars in the field of AMs that have only just missed out on being classed as a pro, but everyone in this field has so much pace that they all mix together anyway, so it makes for an amazing race.
And then in P8 overall, P4 for the pro class, PCD Racing, Marcus Watson currently at the wheel of the Audi R8 LMS. It's kind of dropped off the back of Luke Rosella a little bit here in the Wave Runner, Synergy Sim Racing, but he has a Wave Runner livery on the car here. I think he might actually be racing.
It is Synergy Sim Racing Wave Runner.
Ah, okay, there you go. It explains it then. That's why it's SSR. So the Synergy Sim Racing entry number 98, currently P3 in behind the, front row locked out DBM entries of Tyson Broad and Daniel Yeaman. And I believe Broad actually used to race in that Beyond Blue car and is now in the other entry. So I'll actually need to change his team name on the SDK because they actually did request a car swap for him, didn't they, Jack Oz?
Yeah, they did. It may have just been for this race because I know that Tom was away and Tyson wanted to continue the race. And I think that they had another bloke away in their car, so they just basically swapped him out for that one. But I'll have to double check with Tom and Daniel for that one.
Look at the move down the inside here by Luke Rosella on Broad. So the front row lockout has now ended for DBM here in the GTDs. And Luke is pushing hard to get up onto the back of Daniel Yeaman. Obviously, we've had a couple of good combos with Daniel throughout the season regarding the series, regarding the entries. And, I mean, that DBM entry is having a great race so far, but he's got Luke just chipping away at the gap that he's built himself here, Jack Oz.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say to that, but yeah, except yes, he is. Yeah, they're driving. Driving is impeccable at the moment.
This is the comparison between someone who does 5 broadcasts.
There's been a crash.
There has. That is massive, and look at that car crabbing there.
Oh,
that is
huge
Jake
damage.
Edwards. See him there, and he's just towed. So that is massive, and it has already happened. We're 27, almost 30 minutes into this race, and well, someone has already collected a concrete barrier and is now in the wars. But yeah, the comparison between someone who does 1 broadcast a month and who does 3 every week is, well, just takes experience. And it's almost like they say with racing, Jackos, seat time is how you get better. It's the same with broadcasting. The more you sit in your seat and you do your broadcasting, the more comfortable you get thinking on the fly off the top of your head.
It also helps that you've been having more sleep.
I suppose, yes, that would be true.
I think I've been up since 4. So.
Richard Mitchum in the pits now for Rapid Team Rennsport. So a bit of an early stop here. I have to wonder if they actually got a penalty of some kind or if they've actually got damage. I'm unsure on that one. I actually don't have any stats here on my SDK saying where people crashed and stuff like that. So we're just going to have to keep our eyes peeled and hope that we're lucky. And we're on someone who actually has an incident, so we do actually catch it on the stream. But they're kind of just settling in now, Jack, you know, waiting to get to that pit stop so they can make it to the end. Of course, the GTDs should make it on a 1 stop. And I believe so. Actually, no. The GTPs, well, they need 2 because they're a 45-minute stint, aren't they?
Correct. And as we just saw, then we saw the.
The in behind as well.
There's a crash with the private. It's not a private.
No, it's the Alpha Venturi entry.
They had a request to change to the BMW from. I want to say the Merc.
I believe it was, yes.
And so they will be racing for the BMW for the rest of the season. And unfortunate there I don't know whether they just lost it or whether they got a helping hand there. But yeah, as we saw in the replay before, the GTP was trying to get past one of the GTs, and they kind of just had an awkward moment of when you have someone coming towards you and you're like, I'll go this way, and they go the same way. So, I'm sure everyone can relate to that.
So it was, well, one of extraordinary circumstances for that AVR car. Hopefully they can get into the pits, get it fixed, and then get back out on track. Of course, 1 fast repair is allowed in SIMSA, so they will likely use that fast repair now. And hopefully they can keep it clean for the rest of the race and not need it again. So you can see now the traffic is starting to bunch up just ahead here, Jackos. The CXR car in front of these top 3. Oh, look at that DBM car right up the rear end of Luke Rosella. And Daniel Yeaman has just been following that CXR entry for quite a couple of laps now. Just kind of sitting in the tow, getting a little bit of fuel saving done, but now he's going to get... Oh, that was close. That was incredibly close there for both the DBM entries. Wait, no. It's Drop Bear Motorsport, isn't it? Not Drop Bear Racing.
It's Drop Bear Motorsport.
Yeah, so it is DBM. That's all right then. Getting my brain all confused. But the hilarious thing at this point is the DBM car at the front of the field has lapped every single car now. But I believe they are yet to come into the pits. But the Infinity entry has been lapped. They are yet to pit, but they're kind of just rotating at the moment, trying to keep the car clean and hope for the best and hope that someone actually just has a crash in front of them.
Yeah, they try to do a Stephen Bradbury and just keep it clean and come home with some more spots than they probably should have on pace. But that's good. That's a good way to go racing. Just try and keep it clean and see where you end up.
Well, the consistency is key, and if you can show up every week, stay consistent, or every month, sorry, not every week, but every month, and stay consistent, and, you know, you actually find yourself in a really, really good position at the end of the championship because, well, you've showed up every week, you've stayed consistent throughout a race, so it's actually put you further up the field, and you kind of actually Bradbury your way into a quality finishing position on the championship table.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You just got to chip away at it, show up, be consistent, and consistency is key, as people have always been told, sorry. And
as the DBM car has just hit the tyre barrier, Jackos.
That was a big hit too.
That was massive and has big implications now. So they will need to pit and they will need to use their fast repair, I reckon, because, well, the GTP is a little bit like a piece of paper. You get it a bit wet and it just crumbles the more and more wet that it actually gets, doesn't it?
I wouldn't say you get it wet and it crumbles, but yeah, you make a fold in it and it won't come out, or you.
Yeah.
It is. It does crumple very easily and break though. As we see them come into the pit lane, obviously to use their fast repair, get it over and done with as quickly as possible.
So we can see now all the cars making their way around the main straight. Very, very long pit lane at Long Beach, isn't it, Jack Oz? Just it doesn't really lend itself well to an undercut, even though it is a short lap time, because, well, the pit lane is so long. And
yeah, it's probably one of the longest that we go to on the calendar.
I think you could almost argue it is the longest, wouldn't it?
I would think so. It definitely feels the longest when you're a driver.
I would say maybe the only one that really challenges it is maybe Indianapolis.
Possibly.
Or even maybe Road Atlanta.
Road Atlanta isn't too bad.
Actually, maybe Road America, because it's actually a slow pit lane as well. Oh, look at him though. He is under assault now from that fishy car, although this will not be for position because the fishy car is still a lap down in behind. Also, massive shame for Blake Delaney yesterday, or last night actually, although Jamie Dyke is in the car at the moment, but Blake leading proceedings in the SRW GT3 series, and then unfortunately getting a penalty for crossing the white line on circuit at Fuji. I mean, it's one of the most wild penalties I've seen iRacing give out, is a minute long or like a 40-second stop-go for crossing the white line on circuit.
Would it be a 40-second because he might not have unticked tyres and fuel though?
No, because it actually wouldn't let him do the pit stop when he did the stop-go. So actually, no, it wasn't him. Yeah, so it was. So I remember I had a couple of fishy boys in the chat last night. They were saying that. So he was coming in, crossed the white line, got a stop go, wouldn't let him do his pit stop, and then he had to come in the next lap and do the pit stop. So I put him way down the order. Really unlucky. He had absolutely mega pace last night, and was probably on for quite an impressive win, but just it was kind of snatched away from him by the iRacing gods. Giving out their penalties.
If you want to cut to the 862, it looks like they have a battle going on for the lead. It looks like less than a second now.
They do. It is the top three cars at the moment.
Yeah, there's just over a second in between the top three, so it's proving to be a pretty good battle for the GTD Pro class honours.
Well, not just GTD Pro, but GTD overall as well. I mean, even though we don't classify the points finish for overall anymore, it's still bragging rights if you can be an amateur and get up towards the pointy end of the GTD finishes. So, see here, that DBM car's led the entire race, Jack Oz, but tight on his tails is the Synergy Sim Racing entry.
Yeah, he's definitely looking speedy. He looks like he might actually be catching the back of that Audi. And might actually challenge for the lead here.
I think it helps that he's kind of separated the DBM sandwich that he found himself in. He's kind of right in the middle of them now, though, but has a nice little gap in behind. You see Ash DeVries there just getting around Tyson Broad in his GTP car, and he will be patient and wait until after the final corner to get round the top two of the GTD class.
Really nice to see that he does wait as he flashes in and out, man.
Gives us a bit of a cheeky flash.
Yeah. Not in the fashion that we normally get.
No. I mean, there's a couple of different fashions that Ash Oz can flash us, but
I was going to say it's probably the most PG way he's flashed someone in his life.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's good to see the strong battles all throughout the field. And it's also good to touch on the point earlier that they do weight behind the cars rather than trying to stick it down the inside.
Talk about sandwiches at the moment. Thomas Sanderson's currently in a 19MX wrap sandwich for a battle at the moment for P10 overall, but for P2 in the amateur class. Of course, they Matt Stewart in behind him as part of the pros, but he's kind of just chilling out at the moment in behind his teammate ahead and also the AVR car, just chugging away and waiting to get to the pit stop.
I think you'll find that it's actually he's stuck in a 19MX wraps wrap.
Oh, he's in a twister, is he?
Yeah. But no, it's good to see, as I said, just the battles from everyone. No matter the track we go to, there's battles throughout the entire field, and it's great to see the level of competition.
I mean, it's a real tightly contested field. Even back here, a couple of little battles in throughout the field at the moment. You see CXR entry with Nathan Gardner, with Jamie Stovold in behind for SSR. As Sagasar has just come into the pit, so this now promotes his teammate and Sanderson up the field a little bit. There's probably a little bit of a strategy play here for Sagasar. They'll come in the pits, it'll hit 40 minutes. They'll be very tight on fuel at the end for the hour-long stint that they will have. But with a bit of fuel saving, they should be able to get there, Jackos.
Yeah, it's going to be very tight. I would assume that going off normal fuel loads, it only lasts 50 minutes, but it must last just over an hour.
Well, since it is such a short circuit, I would assume it would last slightly longer in this case, as Jake Jackson's actually now hopped into the car, so he will now finish off the race for them, assuming that they don't need to pit again for damage or a little bit of a splash. But we will now go to the leader of the GTPs, and well, 42 seconds is the gap back to Rapid Team Rennsport, and it is just a dominating performance at the moment for Sam Sutton.
Yeah, they're just waiting for the rest of the field to show up, I guess, as you would say in AFL terms. And the rest of the field's gone missing. But no, they're just doing a stellar job over everyone else. I'm not 100% sure if the rest of the cars have pitted as well, but no, they're doing an excellent job being 42 seconds ahead of the next car. That's
so the only car yet to pit is the Infinity Motorsports entry of Ash de Vries, but you would expect him to come in the next 5 minutes. But these guys, of course, had to pit, use their fast repair after hitting the wall. But they only had a 42-second pit lane travel time, a 4-second stop, so it was literally just to use the fast repair. So they will likely come in a couple of moments' time, get their actual pit stop done, and then continue on to the second stop of the race, which will be pretty much a little bit of a splash towards the end. But he will need to do a driver swap, though, will Sam Sutton, because he can't do two 45-minute stints in this car, Jack, because of the fair share rule.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was 70% of the driving time maximum.
Which works out to about an hour.
Yeah, about that. So you wouldn't want to be in for much longer than, well, you'd want to come in the lane if you were at 40, maybe 48 minutes or something. Or you might just go till the end of the fuel load if you didn't use any fuel on that repair. So
I don't think he did, because it was only a 4-second stop, so it literally would have been fast repair and then back on track, which they have the gap to do it, but even though it is a 55-second lane travel, they've got the pace just to extend the gap anyway. As you see him coming up on the back now of Ash de Vries in P3 of the GTP class, although Ash is actually now back on the lead lap. He will inevitably likely get passed by this DBM car and go a lap down once again. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure it doesn't really spoil anything, but I'm pretty sure that Infinity car is the only car that didn't use a fast repair all day for the GTPs, if I'm correct.
Yeah, Ash was pretty happy with them, with their efforts basically telling the rest of the team that they didn't use any of the faster pairs that they could have, as he moved out of the way, and makes it real easy for Sam Sutton, which is nice to see.
So once again, if you want to get involved in the stream, please hop into the chat. Give us your thoughts, give us your feelings on the race so far. If there's any of those wild and wacky questions you want us to talk about, then please let us know. Or even if you just want to say hi, because sometimes we're lonely and we like to say hi to people on the internet, because why not? We need friends. Or maybe I do. I don't want to speak for Jack Oz, but... So, DBM, just a dominating performance so far as I swiftly make a move past that just sad comment. Oh, Adam Ferguson, hello. Thank you for getting into the chat, Adam. Great to see. So, I mean, I guess, what do you think, Jack Oz, of this performance so far by Sam?
Oh, it's just dominant. I don't know if there's any other words you can use other than dominant or mistake. Well, I don't want to say mistake-free, but because it's not. But yeah, it's just dominant. A dominant show today. I don't know what else I can say about that.
I mean, I guess he's just he's making a charge, I guess, for DBM to try and win the championship at the end of the year, get that #1 on the car. Ryan Green in the chat as well. Adam Ferguson saying, nice work, lads. Looking forward to a live one. We are too, Adam. Just unfortunate we couldn't get it done last weekend. Thanks, Jessica.
Oh, there's contact.
Almost spinning the CXR car just ahead of him there. Very, very close. He was lucky to pull that up, actually. But yeah, we're looking forward to getting Laguna live out here on the channel. If you haven't already, please, Andrew Archer as well. Hello, welcome into the chat. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe and hit the bell for the notifications for whenever we go live with a race broadcast. Although, if you are racing in the series, you probably don't need to be notified because you'll be there.
Yeah, and hopefully, we're thinking about maybe running a couple of smaller series every so often, and we'll be broadcasting through here. But that is yet to be announced on what will be. We still have to finalise some things before we announce anything.
Also,
but it's looking promising.
It is. Also, next time out at Laguna, at the start of the broadcast, will be the official memorial service for the Taipan Events Discord server. It'll literally just be a nice little black and white video with some somber music of me hitting the delete button. So, that's just to give pre-warning to everyone that they need to move here. Or move to our Discord before the next race. So, Andrew Archer saying, watching myself live, what a world. It is a incredibly weird and wild one. Just to make it even worse for you, we'll focus on you at the moment, Andrew. We were mentioning earlier, if you didn't see it, we love that sort of pinkish purple on the rear end of that car. It is just, it's something of beauty, isn't it, Jack Oz?
Oh, it is. It's just it just stands out really nicely, and it's a good break up from the normal colours that you see, or the more common colours that you see. Ironic
that we say that though, with the 1.9 MX Raps car in front of it, which is also purple.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you mean. It's it's nice to have a bit of a change out there. Hopefully as well. Speaking of liveries, hopefully for Petite Sim at the end of the year, we can maybe just see some special liveries since it will be the final round of the season. And being that it will be our kind of premier final event, will be something to behold and to hopefully see some sort of personalities being shown from the teams throughout the field. I guess that's my way of saying make a special livery for the Infinity car, Jack Oz.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Basically making me work on a GTP, which is difficult enough as it is.
Yet another one-time livery.
Yeah. No one would get that reference, but I used to be called Mr. One-Time Livery for making ridiculous amounts of liveries for the team, and it only ever being used once, or sometimes not even ever being used. So.
Oh, that's right. Like the majority of the TCR cars that you made.
Oh, yeah.
Still waiting
That's
for the
why.
Elantra.
I was going to say that's why I have not bothered making it. That's a razzle dazzle.
Razzle dazzle. All right, that's it.
I love that.
I'm about to make something hilarious. Where's Adam's name on the list? I know he's in here.
Adam Razzle Dazzle Archer.
No.
Andrew, sorry. You know what I'm disappointed about this round, though, Hamish?
What are you disappointed about, Jack Oz?
No Lightning McQueens.
Oh, yeah. Bit of a
This
shame.
round, unfortunately.
There we go. Their name is now Backmarker Racing Razzle Dazzle in quotes. You can complain all you want, Andrew, but that's now a thing. Yes! But it's covered up by the car. Doesn't matter. It's all good. Yeah, see? He loves it. That's their official entry now, Jack Oz.
Yeah.
I reckon actually their team name should just be Razzle Dazzle Racing. It kind of rolls off the tongue a bit more than Backmarker. Yeah, see, no complaints. He likes it. Petition to change your team name to Razzle Dazzle Racing, Andrew. Every car must contain that colour now. Brilliant. Bocane in the pits as well, so the singular entry wildcard car in there. I don't know why. I haven't done Chris Tomlin's class yet, so he's actually class wrong at the moment. Let's quickly change that so it is correct. I've actually got his name in here.
I think you might have probably just done Crummy and a Joy.
Where is Chris? Chris Tomlin. Just working on the fly here. Of course, it is a little bit more of a light-hearted stream today, just because, well, it's not live, so it's kind of just
a bit more of a chilled out.
Yeah, it's our intro to the series, I guess.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice. So we'll now head back up to the lead up for a little bit to see how they're going here. I mean, 52 seconds is the gap, and they come into the pits now. They should come out back in first, being that it is about a 55 or 50 second to a minute travel time down the pit lane. So Sam should hop out of the car, I believe, if my math is correct. Could be wrong. No. They can do 2 45-minute stints because Ash did 2 45-minute stints, I believe. If I'm right. I think I am. Oh no, Cameron Dance got in the car. I was wrong. Hound me in the comments. So here is the gap. There is Richard Mitchum coming down towards the final couple of corners, coming through the FD section of circuit at the moment. Cameron Dance drops off the jacks. He should come out of the pits still in P1. Oh, actually, it's going to be tight here, Jack Oz.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's very close on the exit and makes for some nice racing, or hopefully the Rapid team Rensport puts the foot down, becomes Rapid, and they passed them.
They've got P1, and it's quite a gap now. 5 seconds, 4 seconds is... No, it is 5 seconds is the gap. So DBM not able to do enough over the course of that stint to stay in first at the end of the pit stop period. I expect the Infinity car to come into the pits any moment, although they're still out on track. They must have some fuel-saving just strategists at play here, because they've gone more than 45 minutes in that car. Maybe... Oh, actually, you know what? It might be because of how short the circuit is. They can actually go longer.
Yeah, possibly. I think that they might have actually had a quick stop at some point, maybe.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that though.
Because they might be
Ash
going
will
for the
probably
one
bring me.
stop. Oh no, you know what it'll be now? The DBM car won't actually need to pit again. Rapid Team Rennsport do need to pit again, so DBM will actually retain the lead now, a lap later. So you see them there. They will take back the lead of this race. And it should be a straight shoot home for Cameron Dance here towards the end, of course. Less than 50 minutes left in this race, Jack. We are past the halfway point. So if they can do 50 minutes on another tank of fuel, then they should be singing in the roses as they come through the fountain section. So Adam now hopping into the car. Of course, he was in the chat before for Rapid Team Rennsport. Infinity's still going here, Jack.
They are, but the fishy car is right on their heels. I don't believe that Ash is able to hold them off, or they pit before the pass.
They will likely need to pit in the next couple of moments here. I mean, he's just fuel saving like an absolute god at the moment to go 54 minutes without a pit stop. Of course, the fishy car behind has stopped and put the fuel in. Although they stopped on lap 17, they will need to pit again. So it's going to be a tight battle here towards the end, Jack Oz.
Yeah, it will be, and hopefully it doesn't just blow out to a ridiculous lead.
Just lets him
I'm
pass
hoping.
there.
Yeah, which is very, very courteous of him.
So yeah, you were saying you were hoping for something?
Yeah, hoping that it's a close battle for the rest of the race, for the rest of the classes as well. Just bring some spice into it.
Oh, you know we love a bit of spice. So Ash now comes into the pits. Yeah, boy. So currently at the moment as well, there have been a couple of cars who have pulled out of this race. So both of the Mark 1 cars have pulled out. The 222 and 444. The number 5-1 entry, which had Dylan Shepherd in it, has also pulled out of this race. But I believe the 414 is still circulating, so they are not out of this thing yet, but they are laps down on the leaders at the moment. 8 laps down on the leaders of the AM class. So Jordan, there's two. Both Fergusons are now on track, Jack Oz. So this is a, even though they're not related, that we know of. At least Jordan hasn't said anything about it. They are now both on track, so it could be a battle of Fergusons here between RTR and Infinity. So once again, if anyone has any interesting comments they want to ask us or whatever, or even the use of razzle dazzle in a broadcast, please do. We love to get the chat involved. Obviously, this is our light-hearted broadcast this week, since, well, it's less intense and it's Long Beach, so you got to really just make a joke out of Long Beach, don't you, Jack Oz?
Oh, you got to make a joke whenever you can, really. You got to make it nice and make everyone enjoy it. Why? I don't know why this is doing this to me on my computer, but my computer is playing up.
I'll tell you what, if you want a real joke here, Andrew Archer is bringing the razzle dazzle at the moment to the rear end of Matt Stewart, just ahead of him. Both of these cars are second in their class at the moment. Adam Ferguson, no relation. Well, Jordan's part of our team, so we are. I mean, maybe it's a distant relation, who knows, but it's actually interesting that we saw two people sign up with the same spelt last name, just different first names, and they're in the same class, so, but it's still kind of cool to see. Ryan Green hopping into the 818 Alpha Venturi entry, of course. Well, fortunately, Ryan's actually been a bit ill the last couple of days, so he was unable to do the broadcast with me last night and was unable to do the Thursday night broadcast for SRW, so hoping that he can get better soon and get back into the broadcast booth for SRW. I see him coming out of the pits in the AVR car as we head up back towards the front, as I think you are getting some technical difficulties, Jackals, aren't you? Or are you back at it now?
I'm back, but my computer's just playing up a bit.
It's being a not so nice friend.
No, it's being a bit like SDK was last week.
It's nice when things don't want to play ball. So, I suppose then we should. I guess the obligatory question that should be asked to the chat, who may not have actually been in a SIMSA live chat before, is the question that we like to ask: pineapple on pizza, yes or no? I'm a no. Jack Oz, you're a
yes.
yeah. There you go.
You gotta try it with jalapenos as well.
I do like jalapenos on a pizza. Not sure about. I don't really like pineapple though, but Ryan Green saying I get bonked like 4 laps and the car became sussy. Ryan said yes to pineapple, so that's why you're sick, Ryan, because you have pineapple on your pizza.
No, you can't bag it until you try.
I have tried it. I don't like it. Scott Dell saying yes.
No.
I've tried it. I don't like it.
No, you got to try it with jalapenos,
No.
cheese, bacon, and
Andrew Archer saying yes. Salty and sweet is always a win. I am tempted to try Deadpool's combination of pineapple and olive, just to see what it's like. But I don't know. I just no.
bit of wine and jalapeno. You'll enjoy it.
No, because then if I don't like it, I have to pick off every single pineapple piece on that ham pizza.
That's alright.
If Adam Ferguson says no, he agrees with me. I'll tell you what, Jack Oz, if we ever together and we get a pizza each and you get a Hawaiian with jalapenos, I will try a slice of your pizza.
Alright. In saying that though, I don't normally get pineapple on pizza.
No, I don't. Well, obviously I don't, but actually, I'll tell you what, my favourite pizza, well, you know what it is, the viewers don't know, my favourite pizza, at least for the last little while, has been satay pizza. Oh, it's so good. But I still want to try a butter chicken pizza. I think that would absolutely slap.
Yeah, I don't know. Mine always changes. It depends on where I am. Ash's, like when I was at Ash's place, and we got JJ's pizza. They're like the best.
Because they do like kebab pizza, don't they?
Yeah, they do a chicken kebab pizza or a lamb kebab pizza. I can't remember. They do a chicken parma pizza.
Oh, a couple of
proper.
walnuts there. Yeah.
Proper chicken parma pizza.
Yeah.
And they're just as we
Oh.
see. Chocolate.
Oh, and then into the wall.
Big moment there for the Alpha Venturi car. Hopefully it hasn't bent that car too much.
Not gonna lie, I forgot about that, but then as we were getting up to it, I'm like, oh yeah, this happens.
As we see him redress the position, which is always good.
Just unfortunate though, it apparently gave that car some performance issues, but race control didn't find any changes in the lap time, so there wasn't really anything to hand out, unfortunately. But hopefully over the coming races they can have a bit of better luck and just continue to move forward. As Tyson Styles, leading the amateur class, is currently P2 overall for the GTDs as they come in the pits. But DBM at the moment is the talk of the town, Jack Oz. They are just dominating across the board.
Yeah, they are. It's a 57-second lead in GTP and a 29-second lead in GTD Pro. That's something a bit ridiculous there. They're a cut above the rest right now. They're a totally different slice of pizza.
You disgust me, sir.
They must have pineapples on their pizza.
No, they obviously just have jalapeno.
Why? Because their cars are hot.
Yeah. As
Probably
Daniel
be all
Yeaman,
week fans.
as Daniel Yeaman comes into the pitch, you just watch our 6 viewers just go down to
It'll
2.
go to negative 4.
It will. I'll click off in a moment.
End stream. Walks out of the booth.
Nah, see you, boy. So Bailey Sweeney hops into the DBM car. He's also actually changed entries. His team name is Nkosi DBM, but this is the problem when you have multiple entries for one team, as Matt Stewart now takes the lead in the 100MX racing car. This is the only problem where you have multiple entries for the same team in different cars, and those cars are slightly different named, but then they hop into the same car. But it's good for their sponsors. It means that they get multiple advertisements throughout the race, I guess. I'll tell you what though, I honestly, I think, I don't even know what's worse, pineapple on pizza or anchovies.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of anchovies.
Like, they're okay if there's not too many. I think I'd prefer, like, even like olives, like, if there's like a few olives on a pizza, it's alright. I don't mind it, but if there's too much, then I'm just like, nope. Just get off.
So I found out why my computer was bugging out before.
Yes. Please inform the viewers.
Apparently my computer was downloading Halo Wars 2.
Oh, well, there you go. You were preparing for the upgraded
never
Halo
playing that
Wars.
game.
Yeah. Andrew Archer in the pits now, as well as Matt Stewart. So the top 2 in the GTD classes, or the top drivers of both classes, now come in the pits. We'll see if the pit crew from Backmarker Racing can do a bit of a razzle-dazzle stop here and get them out quick.
Oh,
You have
as
no-
Andrew Archer says, both on the same ultimate.
Yep.
Salty and sweet combo.
No, that would be salty. Wait, do you mean anchovies and pineapple, or do you mean anchovies and olives? Because that would just be...
Anchovies and...
Why is it salty?
Anchovies and pineapple. Salty and sweet combo.
I wonder how jalapenos would go on like a dessert pizza. You couldn't have pickled jalapenos. It'd have to be fresh.
Yeah.
I wonder how it'd go though, because it'd be like chili and chocolate, you know. Whoa. It's just becoming the... We need to get a sponsorship from Pizza Hut or something.
Yeah.
We need Domino's sponsorship for this series. We talk about pizza way too much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything that could compromise that.
No, I like pizza. Do
So
you?
what?
I wouldn't mind having Pizza Hut sponsorship. That'd be alright. So, Adam Briggs, SSR. Hey.
I'm in agreement with Scott, but I will not say it over broadcast, just in case.
Ah, yes. So is that triangle? Is that better than?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Especially recently, after their kind of rebrand. Although local pizza shop is still king, no matter where you live. Unless you just live in an absolute trash area that has only chain pizza shops. Oh my god. I know this is a little bit off topic, but Geelong left Sydney goalless in the second half and beat them by nearly 100 points.
Wow.
So an absolute demolition once again in the grand final replay.
That's a bit ridiculous.
I know.
I guess you could say that's a bit the same with the drop bear car right now.
Oh, it really is. Nice little segue there, Jack Oz. They are just absolutely cracking a can on this goal celebration as they continue on to go on to lap 56 here. We are almost half an hour towards the end of this race, and it appears half an hour towards the end of this pizza podcast on Infinity Events or Infinity Broadcasting. I guess I you know what? Another age-old question that I guess beetroot on a burger. No. Just no. Also, no pineapple on a burger either.
I haven't tried it.
Neither. Oh, well, I have, but not recently. Last time I tried it, it was not very nice. I'm not a fan of pineapple as a fruit. The flavor's okay, but the texture's just gross to me. So, DBM are the dominant force, it appears, at Long Beach, at least on the streets of Long Beach. They are, well, as you mentioned, Jackals, they are a cut above the rest. It's almost like they are a crew cut and the rest of the field is a bowl cut in this scenario. They are just circulating lap after lap, keeping it consistent, keeping it clean, and just having a dominant performance right now. As we will check in with second place, the only other car on the lead lap, the Rapid Team Rennsport car. Keep an eye on that gap. Oh, I sure am, Adam. You see it here. It's now down to 54.7 seconds. So rapidly making his way through as Adam Ferguson towards the front of the field. So we'll have to see if he can make a charge here, Jackals, and make a challenge for the lead.
Yeah, hopefully they can reel in that gap and make it exciting for the end.
Adam Briggs is saying get on the beers. I haven't got any, unfortunately. I was tempted to get a rum, but decided no. So, half an hour to go in this race. We'll have to keep an eye on the gap between the top two in the GTP class to see if anyone can put a challenge to the absolutely dominant DBM performance here. But that is the gap. Look, Cameron Dance starting the next lap. Ferguson has just begun it. GT3 pace update. Sure thing, Adam. So, obviously your car, the SSR car, at the front of the field at the moment with your disgusting 7K I rating. Just gross.
You just wish that you could be that good.
Yeah, with my 900 I rating, it's down to bad luck, unfortunately, for me. In officials that I've done, I just lost some I rating because of unfortunate ends. But yeah, Adam Briggs leads the pro class at the moment. A little bit further behind him is Glenn Wilkinson for 19MX Raps Racing. And then Sam Bassier. Great to have Sam involved in the series. Of course, is well known for his GT driving for Drop Bear here in P3. Brad Watson, P4. Just in behind, as we can see the Rapid Team car making its way through the traffic now. So PCD Racing, P4 at the moment. And then P5 for the GTDs, but P1 in the amateur class, it's the Razzle Dazzle backmarker racing car of Chris Neesham. And then Bailey Sweeney in P6, but P5 for the pros for Drop Bear. P2 in the amateur class is Ryan Green just in behind for Alpha Venturi Racing. We saw the knock in the wall before, Jackos, and they've had a nice little comeback here to get back into P2. Greg Barber, well, last night in SRW, what could have been for him just an unfortunate end to his race in terms of penalties being applied, but had a strong race so far for CXR here, and P3 in the amateurs. Brady Baldwin, P6 for the pros. SSR Wave Runner 99 entry, doing quite well here with P7 Wayne Burke not far behind him. Andrew Archer stopped the count for GTD Am, who needs to see the final laps. Chris Tomlin, also known as Chop for LCR Esports, currently P4 in the 212 Fez entry here. And then Callan Hodgkinson for CXR, P5 at the moment. Bo Kane, who will be disqualified at the end of the race because he was a singular entry driver, a bit of a wild card for Risk It Motorsport, in P6 at the moment, having a strong race. Nick Miller, P7 for Odyssey Racing. Of course, they had the penalty at the start of the race for entering with the wrong number on that car. Scott Dell in P8 for CXR. And then Brant Tucker in P9 for TriStar Racing. Jared Farrell for Whitey's Pies. Back down the grid a little bit here. But they are just trying to make their way through. Baxter Hopkinson for AVR just rotating at the moment. And then Braden Sagasar has been in the pits for a couple of laps now. So they are trying to fix that car, I would assume. And then Dylan Shepherd, Justin Quinn, and Henry Thomas Kircher all non-finishers in this race. So we will check out... you know what? That's actually... Nice, P8. There you go. Yeah, see? You're doing well, Scott. In the CXR 93 car. Bit of an unfortunate start for that one, Jackos, but just punching their way through the field now.
Yeah, it's good to see that they stuck it out and they're just trying to make their way through as they got pretty close to the back of that car there.
Yeah, Scott, we mentioned it at the start. We caught it on the cams of what happened, but it doesn't matter now. The race has happened, and we just move on to the rest of the season, don't we, Jackos?
Yeah, we're hoping to also put in some procedures that will stop that from happening in the future as well, because you don't want to see cars getting turned around before the start.
Yeah.
Obviously, you never want to see that happen, so we're going to be working before next round to bring in some procedures that will help mitigate that. And
So they are having quite a strong race at the moment. Of course, Razzle Dazzle Backmarker Racing leads the proceedings. We know that Andrew wants us to stop the count, but unfortunately we can't. We've still got 25 minutes of racing, or 35 minutes. Oh, hits the wall there though. 25 minutes of racing left here, Jackos, and anything can happen around Long Beach.
oh, exactly. It's like I say, every round, anything can happen.
That's
any
true.
Second.
It's true.
It's a long race. Well, it's not as long as normal, but it's anything can happen in a blink of an eye, and you could be
In the wall, your day can be done.
Oh, and it's very easy to do around here.
Oh, yeah.
All you have to do is just outbrake yourself by a couple of meters, and you'll end up in a wall.
It's a little bit of a shame, actually, that iRacing don't have their rain implemented yet, because we could have almost done a bit of a rain Long Beach race, and then have they're in the fence, they're all in the fence sort of moment happen. But that we probably would have lost the majority of our entries in the series if we had done that.
Yeah, I won't be scheduling rain.
No, it'll be generated weather.
Yeah.
So we well, what will happen now is just to clarify for anyone who's involved in the series who watches the replay of this broadcast or is watching live, the actual dates for the races set in iRacing will be the dates of the actual events in real life. Even though the dates of our races are different, we want to match the real life weather and stuff like that as best we can. So they're actually now set to the real life dates, and if it rains, it rains. But of course, it's not going to happen anytime soon, being that iRacing hasn't actually put it into the game yet, Jokers.
Yeah, you got to wonder whether they'll actually bring it out this year. Hoping they do. It's looking very promising from the photos that we've been receiving by them, and yeah, it could bring another spanner in the works to a lot of teams. As we see the Fishy card make a dive down the 93 there into the last corner.
So Blake Delaney back in that car now after having their second stop of this race, so he will finish the race for that entry. Of course, the leader of the race, DBM Cabron Dance, just continuing what Sam did at the start of this race and just pushing his way forward. But we are hoping for something that can cause a bit of spice here, Jackos, and just really close that gap back to P2.
Yeah, of course. We always want it to be a bit exciting for the viewers at home, and well, everyone's at home anyway because it's a sim. But
yeah,
we want it to be as exciting as we can for everyone. Obviously, we don't wish any bad luck upon anyone, but it's nice to see when it's a very close battle rather than a blowout. But it's just been a dominant display by the Drop Bear car today.
Can I just confirm, did the TriStar 999 car I need to check.
555.
Yeah, 555. But one of the drivers is in the 555 today, so I need to confirm who it is. Brant Tucker. So I think he normally was driving in the GTPs. He's currently on this. Yeah, he's currently on the GTP list. So I need to find his name and change that. So then we are looking at this correctly. There's his name. Move him to GTDM. Change his team name. And why is he now gone to... Why is... Oh, I know why the backmarker racing car is not in the class now. We need to fix this.
What have you done?
Oh, no, nothing. It's the backmarker racing car of... Great, now I need to see who's actually in the car. Chris Neesham. And change it so then he's actually on the correct class.
At least we'll be able to iron out all the kinks before next season. Not next season, next round. So.
Oh, that's kind of what we're doing right now, so... There we go. I fixed it. We have now fixed the... Oh, I don't want to say problems, but the things that come with different entries and not being prepared because of certain things happening. But we'll hopefully have everything ironed out before the next race. Of course, we will fix the overlays as well to not be so WEC-esque. They'll be more IMSA-esque as well. So we may even give a bit of a preview in the Discord if you haven't joined already. So 20 minutes to go here, Jackos. It's been, well, almost a race of just circulating and staying clean, and DBM looked to be on for one hell of a win here in the GTP class.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I don't want to keep on saying it, but they've had a dominant display today.
I mean, what else can you say? I mean, it's what it is.
Yeah, they've just been another slice of pizza, mate. So.
You are terrible. So, but 42 seconds is now the gap, so the gap has actually shrunk here, Jackos. So, Adam Ferguson is on a charge to get up the front and make a challenge for the lead.
You'd love to see it, and you got to wonder if he's going to have enough time to catch up to the back.
I mean, 20 minutes, anything can happen, of course. That DBM car could end up in the wall, could end up getting a penalty for something, who knows? I can't remember. So
no, I don't remember, and I did the results.
Yeah, and I guess, I don't know. I normally only remember when I actually call it as a broadcast. It's funny. If I'm calling off a replay of a race I've already seen, I actually don't remember everything that happens when I'm broadcasting it. But once I broadcasted it, it kind of gets locked away in the back of my mind of what happens, so I remember to mention it the next time round. But
yeah, I'm the same. Like, not with broadcasting, obviously, but it's like I'll go to work and I'll forget what I did the day before.
yeah.
So, I think we're just getting old, mate.
Don't say that. I don't want to get old.
I mean, you're younger than me, so
Only by a year.
you're a whippersnapper.
You whippersnapper.
It's alright, I want to in the frame soon.
Oh, no. So, RTR trying to make the charge. Adam Ferguson at the helm of that BMW hybrid. Just trying to make their way through. Of course, we mentioned before if needed it to be 200 minutes. Yeah, you could say that, but I don't know if a lot of people actually would have shown up if it was more than an hour and 40, but that's okay though. Not everyone's as excited to race around Long Beach as some. Same. Ooh, that was a nice and tidy line through there. Almost looked a little bit offline, but on the exit it actually kind of straightened up and looked quite neat and tidy there. So he just wants to make his way through, get through the traffic. Ooh, is he going to be patient? He will. But it's good to see that at least outside of officials, because there's not so many nice people and officials who wait, at least in the leagues, you can... Scott Dell also saying it needed to be 200 minutes, so, but yeah, it's nice to see people in the higher classes being a bit patient, isn't it, Jackos?
Yeah, you never want to see people just shooting it up the inside when there's no room to do so, like there are in officials and the special events especially. You get that all the time, and it's just a bit stressful compared to what it is in our series, which is nice. Nice to see that everyone has the respect for each other.
I think it also comes down to the fact if you do go for a dive and it goes wrong, you can actually get a penalty in this, where in an official, there's no live race control. You can be reported, but you can't necessarily actually be given an in-race penalty without going over the incident limit. So there's actual sort of stakes on the line if you make the mistake and go for a dive and it goes wrong.
Yeah, that's right as well. Obviously, you never want to take anyone out. Well, I don't. I'm sure you don't either.
Depends who it is.
I'm sure I was going to say, I'm sure that there are some people out there that don't care if they take other people out, but it's not the way that you want to go racing.
And Anthony in the chat as well, saying, hey lads, good to see a good turnout for Long Beach. It was. I mean, we didn't really expect there to be many GTPs, but we expected more than 4, didn't we, Jackos?
Yeah, expected maybe 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's still good that we had 4, and hopefully we get a bigger turnout back at the next round for Laguna Seca.
So here is the gap now. It has, well, it's kind of just sat where it was for the last couple of laps, around about 47, 48 seconds between P1 and P2. Adam Ferguson is saying, I wanted to push harder. We were comfortable second, so mitigated risks, particularly against back markers fighting for position.
We have cars on around there, the Alpha Venturi BMW. I think, from memory, I think they might have done that on their own. Unfortunately, in a replay file, you cannot get... we can't do live action replays. Yeah,
because then when we press live, it will go to the end of the race. So, about 15 minutes to go. Not far from the end now. You can see the DBM car on the back of the Infinity Motorsports car currently being piloted by Jordan Ferguson. So, he should allow the lead to pass him, and he does. But yeah, as mentioned, that Infinity car, the only GTP to not use a fast repair in this race, so they just wanted to circulate, make it to the end, and get a good bunch of points in the championship, Jackos.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you need to do is just be consistent, show up, and obviously there's a drop around in the series, but yeah, you just got to show up to have a chance of winning, and just put in the result. Even if you don't win, you have a consistent result of top 10s or top 5s, and you can see yourself finishing up high in the championship. As we see the number 22 car come into the pit lane for us, you would assume a scheduled stop.
Yep. Maybe a bit of a fast repair stop, though. It was very short.
It was, unless it's a splash and dash, but
yeah,
it was very quick.
9 seconds was the pit stop time, so maybe a slight little splash to get to the end. Of course, almost 10 minutes to go in this race. And again, I mean, as mentioned in the chat and even over the broadcast, it's kind of just being a bit of a mitigate risks kind of final couple of moments here in this race. You know, you're in a comfortable spot. You don't want to push too hard or make a mistake that leads to problems. But, I mean, you can see the battle here. This is the battle for P2. Oh! Down the inside goes the PCD entry with Brad Watson at the helm. I mean, it was a nice and tidy move there. It was lucky that Wilkinson didn't turn in on him, because that could have ended really badly, Jack Oz.
It could have. If he wasn't aware of him showing the nose there, he could have just turned in easily. As we've had it, the number 28 of Hodgkinson must have made contact with the fountain there, as he's moving very slowly, getting out of the way of everyone else.
Doing a bit of florist work for the Council of Long Beach.
I don't think they'd appreciate him taking out their petunias.
Probably. I wasn't prepared for that. No, I don't think he would. You know, and I guess maybe he was just trying to, you know, pick up some flowers for his mum or something, you know, take it to her and give it to her as a bit of a present. But
well, it is Mother's Day next weekend.
Not next weekend.
Is it not? It's
no,
the one after.
It's the weekend of the 14th.
Oh well, my bad then. I obviously don't follow my calendar.
You obviously don't care about your mother.
Oh, that's a bit harsh.
I'm joking. No, the only reason I know is I fly back from Queensland that day, so yeah.
I think we planned originally to go get the straight shell for the XL on that weekend.
Yes.
That way Jacko could go see his mum on the Saturday, and then I'd see mum on the Sunday. But obviously I don't really need it.
No, you don't, because you bought one that has a cracked-in rear end.
Oh, it's alright. It runs and drives at least.
So we edge closer and closer to the 10-minute warning towards the end of this race. And again, these drivers just, although Wilkinson dropping yet another spot there to the DBM entry, they're now back on the podium. Must have had a couple of moments throughout the race that has just kind of led to them just having a not so good end to proceedings. But Adam Briggs of the SSR car just dominating at the front right now, pushing harder and harder, changing cars for this entry. So he was in the 8-9 car, now he's in the 9-8. And yeah, just pushing forward, trying to get to the end of this race and take an impressive victory. Not only that, the leaders of the AM class at the moment, it's their razzle-dazzle moment for backmarker racing in the 646 car, Jackos, and they've had quite a nice and tidy little race here.
Yeah, they have, and it shows. They're about 2 seconds up the road from the Alpha Venturi car, and they've just kept it clean all day and just chipped away at keeping it clean and running fast laps as we focus on the Alpha Venturi car, trying to eke back that gap. And as it sort of goes over the curbs there, you'd hope that would damage the undertray of the car.
Has to be careful as well not to get a cut of the circuit on that curvature as well. It's also very easy to get over that and then forces you wide into the tyre barrier. So it's kind of playing with fire a little bit there, cutting that curb on the inside. But he seemed to survive for now.
It definitely seems like he must be pushing to catch that back marker car to have to resort to going over those curbs. It seems to be paying off. He's gained at least a tenth or two in that lap.
Well, I mean, 9 minutes left to go. He's got to gain 2 seconds over the course of the next 9 minutes. But you can see the gap there, the backmarker racing car just getting off screen, and then Alpha Venturi getting passed by the Rapid Team Rennsport car. They're now 35 seconds from the lead of this race. There is the leader.
GTP is also down to 35 seconds.
That's what I've just mentioned.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I completely blanked then. I thought you were talking about the other cars.
No, that's fair enough. Why is my father ringing me for? It's not finished yet. God! So, Ryan Green leading the charge right now for Alpha Venturi Racing. P2 at the moment. The gap has now dropped under 2 seconds, so he is pushing that car fast and hard right now. Obviously, he was in a better physical condition last weekend than this weekend. As mentioned, he's been a bit ill, so hoping for the best for him. But just on the charge now, you see the gap. It is shrinking, Jack Oz, and we could be on here for a spicy finish. It's now 1.5 seconds.
Well, he slightly misses the apex there. That'll hurt him a little bit, but yes, he is catching and closing that gap to first place in the class. And he's got Sam Battier right behind him as well. Just, I don't want to say eating on the back of his heels, but
I mean, and like Sam is not a slow customer. Like, he is a quick operator in these cars. So for Ryan to have him behind him and be patient and just let Ryan push on, it must mean that Ryan actually has some fairly good pace out of that Audi at the moment.
Yeah, it does. Sam's always been pretty quick from when my experience of racing against him in multiple series. He's always been a clean racer, and he has a level head and knows when to push and when to not.
Look at the gap now. Chris getting a little bit impatient there with one of the back markers. Ironic, being it's back marker racing, but yeah, getting a little bit impatient there, flashing the lights, wanting to get through, because look at the gap now. It has shrunk to under a second, Jack Oz.
It has, but the Audi also got held up there. Not as much, but yeah, it's starting to look like it's going to be a cracking battle for the lead of the class.
Well, it'll be an impressive victory for either one of these drivers, no matter who wins here. If it is one of these two drivers, of course. I mean, anything can happen. As we etch closer, we've just ticked over 6 minutes to go in this race. It'll be around about 4 laps that these drivers find on track. So how eager is Ryan to take victory here for amateurs? He is 8 tenths away from the lead of this race. He's been pumping out quick laps, lap after lap here, Jack Oz, and he is tightly on the heels of that back marker racing car just ahead of him.
Yeah, he's nibbling at the heels of the back marker racing car there. And he's eking ever so close, or ever so close on each lap. And you would hope that Chris is able to withstand the pressure
as he goes wide.
Put a bit of the commentator's curse on him about a week later.
So they're now coming in through turn 8. Oh, and he's had a knock into the tyre barrier. Oh, and that'll be an unsafe rejoin for him there. And yet another one. So it has crumbled down to, well, a multitude of problems for them. Alpha Venturi taking the lead of this race, but you have to wonder if they would get a penalty from that contact. Oh, as that rear end just looks so unsettled.
Yeah, you never want to see that happen. I'm sure that the Alpha Venturi car doesn't want to win by doing that, but unfortunately it does happen sometimes in racing.
So we'll now move up to the leader of the Pro class, Adam Briggs. He's got a 40-second gap back to P2 in Bailey Sweeney for Drop Bear Motorsports.
I did see that it collected one of the Drop Bear Audis as well.
Yeah, I think that would have been Sam Battier, who was
fortunate there. You can see the rear of that car looks a bit torn out, the right-hand rear. But hopefully it hasn't affected them too much.
So we now go with the leader as we are only moments away from the checkered flag of this race, and it's been a perfect performance for Drop Bear Motorsport. They've led every single lap of this race. Apart from the pit stop periods, they also have the fastest lap of the race as well. They started on pole, and it's been, well, just a real Grand Slam performance here, Jack Oz, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been the perfect weekend for them. Was that a bit of contact there?
I was unsure. I wasn't actually looking at the screen. I was checking the lap times.
Oh, of course. But yeah, it's been a perfect weekend for those boys at Drop Bear. They've put in a stellar effort. As you said, qualified pole, fastest lap, and it looks like it's going to be the win for them here.
So they will push on. I mean, one thing I guess we could talk about as well, it's quite interesting though. So Cameron Dance has over 6,000 I rating. P2 Adam Ferguson only has a 1,600 I rating. So he's actually put a fair effort in to only be 36 seconds behind the leader of the class.
Yeah, he has. It could well be a bit like our team though, where a lot of people don't do officials as
That's
often
true.
as they probably either should or would like to. And the I rating might not reflect their skill level, but at the same time, that is a stellar effort to be even gaining time on Cameron Dance.
So he etches closer and closer. The near perfect performance is almost completed. This is almost his crescendo to the end. 1 hour, 38 minutes and 10 seconds of racing has been done. I believe we will get the white flag on the next lap if I am correct. Or if I'm correctly remembering. That is what we get. So we will follow the leader to the end of this race. And we'll have to see as well next time out at Laguna Seca whether he can back it up once again and just go on to an incredible rest of the season. Of course, we're only 3 rounds in. We've still got 8 to go this season. We mentioned before the next round is 2,040 minutes of Laguna Seca, and then we go on to the Watkins Glen 5 hour, which that'll be a long day, but it should be a fun one for these drivers, Jack Oz.
Oh yeah, really suit, as you love to say, the cars are really suited to that track. So
you kind of you've minced the words a little bit there. It's this track is made for these cars, but I understand what you mean. It's well, these cars are really made for this track, but yeah, I think Watkins it is one that suits majority of types of cars. I mean, we drove around there a couple of weeks ago in the Formula 3.5, and it's just a circuit that suits to any type of racing, whether it's open wheel, prototype, GT, or even just other types of touring or even stock cars. So it's almost I don't want to say it's a perfect circuit because, well, how can you say what's a perfect circuit? But it's perfect in the fact that anything can really run there and put on a nice race.
Yeah, it's just one of those ones where you can drive anything around there and you can have good fun driving it. So the other tracks I can think of, Alton Park are the same. You can drive basically any sort of vehicle around there and you can have a good time. So yeah, it's a great track. Even Laguna Seca, same sort of deal.
Like Hockenheim as well. That's one of those circuits where you can pretty much drive anything, and no matter what the layout is, it's going to be a fun time. So they should come on now for the finish of the race. It was an incredible victory there for Drop Bear Motorsport. Cameron Dance leading them to victory after Sam Sutton put an absolutely incredible first stint in for that car. And well, what can you say, Jack Oz, other than that was just incredibly impressive and dominant?
Yeah, you summed it up. I don't have anything to add about their performance. It was just so dominant. They had the perfect race weekend with pole, fastest lap and the race win, and they led almost every single lap when they'd obviously pit and gave up the lead. But yeah, hopefully they can. I think they also might have picked up the championship lead, or they're in the lead of the championship right now as well after this race.
Yep, I believe you are correct on that one there. Yes, they are. So, as it stands after this race, as we might just check out some of the other drivers. So, RTR has now finished the race as well. Fishy making their way around, as well as Infinity as well. So, currently in the GTP standings, the top 3 in the championship is Drop Bear Motorsport with 1,075 points. P2 is Rapid Team Rensport 912 with 892, and then P3 is Infinity Motorsport with 842 points. So it shows what can actually happen when you're consistently showing up every round. Infinity have been here for all 3 rounds, and they found themselves P3 in the championship at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we keep saying, it doesn't matter if you don't finish on top. It's more just you got to show up every round and still try to do well, but it doesn't matter if you don't win every race. As long as you show up and just do your best, and you'll get good results. And it'll improve your championship standing. So you may as well show up and keep racing.
So here is the race results. Jackals, you want to just run us through the GTP results there? Obviously, the 5th and 6th car don't really count there, but
I can't really see them.
that's all right. I'll do it. So P1 today for GTP, obviously going to Drop Bear Motorsport. P2 going to Rapid Team Rennsport 912. P3 going to Fishy Motorsports, and then P4 rounding out the GTP field was Infinity Motorsports. We'll then go on to the GTD Pros for this race. SSR Wave Runner taking an impressive victory just ahead of Drop Bear Motorsport. P3 going to PCD Racing, 19MX Raps Racing in P4. P5 was the other Drop Bear Motorsport car after unfortunately having a bit of contact. P6 going to SSR Wave Runner. P7 going to SSR Wave Runner, and then P8 going to CXR. I don't believe there's any other pros. No, there's not. We'll then move on to the amateur class. Now, LCR Esports. Oh, we're on the wrong page for that one. Alpha Venturi Racing take the victory of that one, but of course they had a post-race penalty of 40-odd seconds, so I believe it put them down the order a fair bit. So I believe CXR22 actually took the victory of that race, if I'm not mistaken. I might just actually check the round results page quickly. Oh no, they actually did take the victory. Okay. So I was wrong. Alpha Venturi Racing still take victory here today. Backmarker Racing, Razzle Dazzle finished second. P3, Crisscross Racing, number 22. P4, LCR Esports, an impressive debut for them this time out. P5 goes to the other CX car, 93 entry. Then Odyssey Racing Yellow finished P6. P7 goes to CXR. I don't even know what number it is, though, because it has another driver who's moved cars. P8 goes to Whitey's Pies. P9, Alpha Venturi Racing. And then making up the 10 for the AMs is 19MX Raps Racing. As we move down to the non-finishers, Risk It Motorsport, obviously disqualified because it was only Bo Kane. And then both Mark 1 Esports entries being non-finishers in today's race. We might just quickly run through the next round that we have coming up before we end tonight's race. So a month from this, or from today, really, 27th of May, we have the 2 hours and 40 minutes of Laguna Seca coming your way here on the Infinity Broadcasting channel, of course, being presented by Infinity Events. If you have not joined the Discord already, we will have it linked on the Infinity Broadcasting YouTube channel. It is also in the chat a bit further up towards the start of the broadcast. And if, you want to hop in there, join the Discord, shoot us a message about if you want to register a car with some drivers. You need a minimum of 2 and only 4 entries per car. I have been Hamish Munro, the lead commentator for today, alongside Jack Anderson, giving me his expert comments once again about these cars and this series. This has been SIMSA for the 2023 season, round 3, 100 minutes of Long Beach. We hope you have enjoyed it here today. We look forward to seeing you May 27th for Laguna Seca.